Welcome back to the halftime show here on K105. It's time for another edition of our Cougar Conversations. As you can see, we're on a school bus. We're talking with school bus driver Bruce Akridge. And the first question I really wanted to get into is just the simple one: is how long have you been driving a bus, and really why was it something you wanted to do?
This is my seventh year of driving. As far as something I really wanted to do, I got into it probably for what most drivers do, is for the insurance, to help with the insurance side of it. After I started driving, um, I come to love it. It's really been the most enjoyable job I've ever had, actually. I really appreciate the school systems, as far as taking care of the bus. I mean, I drive the bus. The kids are well behaved. If you try to keep track on them, you gotta discipline them and so forth. But once you get to know the kids and everything, it's a very enjoyable job to have.
What does a typical day look like for you during the week?
Well, it's early rise every morning. I This route starts at about 20 minutes till 7. Actually, it's one of the later routes to get started with, but uh, it's just a few. This route here is probably about only about 13 to 15 miles, something like that. So it's one of the shorter routes, but I do two loops. I drive to I hit Wilkie and then the middle school. I go out to Lawler and then the high school. And then my day's pretty much finished, but in the mornings. And in the afternoons, pretty much the same thing. You run the routes back again, and I get home uh, finished with the route somewhere around 15 to 4.
I was a bus rider pretty much from the minute I went to school until I realized that I could actually drive myself. And I remember that the relationships that I would have with the bus drivers, like I can still tell you that my first ever bus driver was Bob the bus driver. And because he would always smile, he knew us by name and so on. How important is it to you in building those relationships with the kids so they can remember you as one of their bus drivers?
Well, I do greet the kids every morning with a good morning and hello. I don't always get a response, but most of them will say hello, return a friendly gesture of some sort. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. As far as getting the kids on your side, is just being friendly with them. Try to earn their respect. If you respect them, generally you'll get that in return. I just think that if you treat them fairly, then they will respect you. And discipline is not near as hard if you can get on their side.
One of my favorite questions to always ask anyone when talking about their job is benefit and the benefit to you in working in this. I know everyone appreciates a job that when they go home at night, they think, I made a difference in whatever it might be. How does this benefit you when you go home at night knowing that you had a hand in impacting these students?
Well, that is one of the things I guess that's enjoyable about it is the relationship you have with the students. And I try not to be a psychiatrist, work out all their problems, but sometimes they'll come up and they'll have. You can just tell that they're disturbed. I had a little boy the other day. It was crying, and I asked him what was wrong. And I sat down here beside him. I try to not talk above him. I try to sit down beside him if they got little problems like that, and we just talked. I just said, well, try to maybe talk to your mom and dad about it and that sort of thing. And I said, and then you got friends on the bus. And I said, anytime you need to talk to me, I'll be here. But that's something that I enjoy. I try to teach, not necessarily instill Christian values, but I try to tell them as far as their behavior on the bus, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And I said, generally you get along pretty good when you do that.
I know you also get to drive students after school as far as extracurricular activities. You drive cross country, you drive band. What is it like? And I've always wondered this. Like the band, I know a couple of weeks ago had a huge win at a competition. What are those bus rides like back home?
Oh my goodness, the kids. You'd think that they would be tired from a long day like that, but no, they're energetic. They may sleep on the bus a little bit, but they're excited about it. Especially the other night when we came back from the band competition, and we had an escort from the parkway around the courthouse and everything, and they were just so excited about that. And I really appreciate the public getting involved. There were several around the courthouse that greeted them when we came back, and it was around, oh goodness, was it around 12 o'clock or so? I mean, it's pretty late.
It was a really late night with that. I know the school district is always looking for school bus drivers to help join you in driving students. What would you say to someone who is watching this right now and saying maybe they're retired or looking for some extra money, somehow it might be? What would you say to them on what it would mean for you to help have them join, but then also how do they become a bus driver?
Well, I have talked to others about driving a bus, and I say, if they'll say, well, I've got some downtime or something like that, I said, you need to drive a school bus and see how you'd like that. And I said, most people are a little bit intimidated by the bus. It's a big vehicle, and but I tell them, say, it's a easy vehicle to drive. Once you learn the ins and outs about it, I said it's one of the safest vehicles you'll ever drive. I said, yeah, you got all those youngins behind you, and they may be throwing parties and everything, but you got a mirror up there trying to keep them under control. But it is got good visibility. You're with the mirrors and so forth. So it's a pretty easy vehicle to drive. Don't be intimidated by the size of it. But there again, it's as far as the testing and so forth, it's not that difficult. It's a little bit of memorization. You gotta walk around the bus and do an inspection, starting from front to back, inside and out. And so it does. There's a little bit of memorization to it. That may be a little bit of intimidating, but it did take me a while to get through that. I mean, I didn't get it right away. I don't remember exactly how long I was. Probably 6 weeks maybe to get it all down. But once you get it in your head and get figured out, then you take a written test. You pass that. You go on to the department there, and then they will have an official ride with you, and you pass that, and you come on in, and you start out as a sub driver and whether it's you get a full-time position, that's really hard too, as far as the being a sub driver, because you got all these routes that you don't know where you're going, especially if you're not from the county. If you're from the county, it's not so hard, but if you're not from this area, yeah, that can be a bit intimidating. But we got a radio on there, and a lot of bus drivers will help them out and say, hey, I'm down this road, I don't know where to go from here. And so some of the other drivers will coach you through and get you right back to where you need to be. And so it's a like I say, it's a very friendly group of people to work with.
It's great. If you're interested in potentially becoming a bus driver, be sure to contact, I know, Braxton Allen at the school district. He'll be able to help you out and get you set. I appreciate you taking the time. It's really good learning all about the buses and really the first smiling face that some of the students see every morning. We'll take a break and have more on the halftime show after this, as this has been another edition of Cougar Conversations on K105.